So welcome to session 3 of the downward dog. So we're going to talk about starting to lengthen out through the hamstrings. So although a roll down, which is what we're going to look at today, is very much about articulating through the spine, as we roll down forward, our hamstrings have to control the lengthening of our upper body going over the top. So I want to have a little look at that because that helps you to lengthen through your hamstrings to be able to then do your downward dog. Before we get there, there's something I really want to focus on so that you understand in your roll down what you need to do to be able to get that last little bit of length through your hamstrings. So we're going to come onto all fours and just stabilize through the shoulders and lift your upper body away from the floor. And we're going to isolate just the pelvis here. So imagine you've got a torch on your tailbone and you're tucking your tailbone under and that torch is shining down to the floor. The other way to look at it is that your pubic bone is shortening to your belly button, and you can see that I just start to get a curl in my lower back. I'm not looking for a full cat stretch where the upper back then rounds. I want you to control the upper body so that that stays straight in a coffee table, and super slow, okay? No one's trying to, I don't know where we're trying to go, what we're trying to do, okay? All I want you to do is actually super slow this down and really feel where can you curl into your low back before the area around your rib cage starts to curl as well. So as soon as you start to feel this move, you're going to control that. Yeah, find that control in your body. Just tuck under as far as your lower back will allow you. And if you're a bit tight in your low back, it might be much less movement than I've got. And then here, we're going to start to release out. Now that doesn't mean we sink through the shoulders or through the rib cage. It means we start to really think about that torch on your tailbone, or if it's easier for you to think about where your sit bones are, you're trying to send your sit bones wider. It's like you're sticking your bottom out or someone's pulling your bottom cheeks apart and lifting your tailbone. So you can see from my tailbone into the hollow in my back, this is all shortened from here to here rather than just dropping my rib cage. So here we go again. We're going to tuck under, feel the length through my low back, and then I'm going to try and pull my bottom cheeks apart, stick my bottom out, lift my torch on my tailbone up to the ceiling, and again tuck under. So in the roll down, this movement, subtle movement does occur. So we're going to do 2 more here. Tucking under and then lifting that tailbone. So in the roll down, you do go from a subtle flexion to extension. Last one, I want you to feel as you tuck under, you'll feel your sit bones have come together. Your hamstrings attached to those sit bones, so they're the hard bits that you sit on, right? So if they've tucked under and gone down, that's shortened the hamstring down to the knee. Yeah, I hope you can feel that or see that. And then as you stick your bottom out, you should feel that your sit bone widens because the pelvis widens and it lifts, and you're now lengthening the piece of rope from your knee to that sit bone. Okay, so the knees are bent, so you're not putting a stretch on the hamstring, but once you come into the roll down, so tuck under, feel how you offload that piece of rope as your sit bones close together. And then as you lift your tailbone, that rope is lengthening, but it's not going to feel like a stretch into the hamstring because your knees are bent and your hamstrings are obviously offloaded at this end. But here you should start to feel a little bit of a stretch or a little bit of length. And then relax. Okay, so we're going to come up into our roll down. Feet just comfortably apart, and you don't want to lock out through the knees. If you lock out through them in your roll down, you're going to put your back on quite a lot of strain. So that doesn't mean the knees are bent, it just means they've got a bit of give, yeah? So a little bit of softness to them. So we're going to reach those arms up, and the articulation of the roll down is through the upper back. Okay, so think about nose diving, and it should feel like your breastbone hinges or rolls in towards your spine, and you are rolling over a ball. Now just hold here, because the big cheat people tend to do at this point is their bum goes back, okay, so that means their back doesn't actually round, and then they just hinge in their mid-back, okay? That's not what you want to do. You want to think now that your tailbone at the moment is underneath you, so you drop it underneath you slightly, but your weight is in the balls of your feet, okay, in the bridges of your feet. So you're going to try and keep your weight slightly forward. Don't let your bum go back, okay? You're going to keep your heels or your tailbone stacked over your heels and nosedive forward with your weight over the balls of your feet. Don't let your bottom go back behind your heels. My knees are still slightly soft, and then I curl ribs into my spine and I roll down here. Okay, at the bottom of my roll down, my tailbone is still a little bit tucked under because I've curled through the whole spine. So now I'm going to do that little lift of my tailbone without my knees straightening. So it's not my knees moving, it's my tailbone lifting, and it's a really subtle movement. Think about someone pulling your bottom cheeks apart, sending your tailbone upwards, and then you're going to feel a stretch into these hamstrings and hold there. And it might be you can't reach the floor, just go to the range for you. My weight's still slightly more in the balls of my feet, my toes are nice and spread. Cool. So now we need to change that, but the initiation happens from the same movement we did in 4-point kneeling. So you're going to tuck your tailbone under, pubic bone draws towards your belly button without your body weight going back behind your feet. So in that plane, and your tailbone is like it's rolling down towards your heels. So hang here, we're about halfway through, and still initiate the movement from your tailbone. So see if you can tuck that tailbone underneath you a little bit more, so you've offloaded the hamstrings and you're really nice and articulating through the spine. Peel the chin away from the chest and reach up. And we're going to do that one more time. So bum doesn't go back, you nosedive forward, curling through the upper back, weight in the bridges of the feet, into the mid-back, don't let your bum go back, and then down. Soft knees, go as far as is comfortable for you, and now try and change the movement at the pelvis by sending your tailbone up and out. Someone's pulling your bottom cheeks apart and you're lifting your tailbone. Still with soft knees, not locked knees. Keep trying to lift the tailbone, and that will deepen that stretch. And you'll also find you then get this length through your spine that is hanging down, like you're hanging over a garden fence. Nice stretch, hopefully you can feel through the back of the hamstrings. And then from here, initiate by rolling the tailbone underneath you towards your heels. Feel that you offload those hamstrings. And start to really roll the tailbone under, and you'll get the curl into the low back, mid back, upper back. Peeling that chin away from the chest, roll your shoulders back. So a little test to finish is that if you bring yourself against a wall, you're going to feel if you can stop your bottom from going back. So let's have a go at that. So from here, I haven't quite, it's very hard to do it with your feet completely against the wall. So just bring your feet forward. I'll just pop these out the way actually. Your feet forward of your wall by about half a foot, okay, 20-30 centimeters. And again, if you've got quite tight hamstrings, you're probably going to need a little bit more than that, okay? So just adjust as you need to. We're going to reach those arms up, and here let the back snuggle against the wall, and then here you want to really feel that you roll down through the neck. You start to peel the upper back away, and imagine someone's just punching you in the stomach and you're rolling over the punch, curling, And you're going to start to feel then, if you tend to take your bottom back, that you feel quite unbalanced. Soft knees. And now start to notice your tailbone. It doesn't come away from the wall, but it will start to travel up the wall. Okay, hang here. Soft knees still. Now try and send that tailbone a little bit further up the wall. See if you can widen those sit bones out on the wall. Flare them and feel the stretch through the hamstrings. So here, just see if you can straighten them one knee without locking it, and soften it, and then straighten the other knee, and that might just deepen that stretch through those hamstrings for you. And then both nice and soft. Even weight through the bridges of the feet and initiate. So feel where those sit bones are against the wall, and you're going to try and find your tailbone. So you start to tuck your tailbone under. Initiate that roll of your tailbone down the wall. Cool. Keep and then hold for a moment. Check your tailbones against the wall. See if you can tuck your tailbone under a little bit more, down towards your heels. And now someone's punching you in the stomach. Try and find that low back against the wall imprint. Then try and find the mid back. And then peel that chin away from the chest, trying to find the lower third of the neck. Mid third, upper third. Peel that chin away from that chest and reach up. And then bring those arms down and step away from the wall. Roll your shoulders back. So that's a really nice thing to practice. If you could do 100 of those a day, very quickly you're going to create length in your hamstrings to be able to do your downward dog. So I'm not expecting you to do 100 a day, but I would say if you could do 5 of those a day, you would see a massive change in your downward dog within a couple of weeks. So 5 a day. If you can do one when you do your teeth, morning and evening, with a cup of tea, at lunchtime and dinner, you'll be sorted. Hope that helps.